Thank you so
Thank
much. Happy Friday, everybody. Thank you for being here. Let me turn my volume up. Let me turn my brightness up so I can see what's going on. We've got our 45-minute flow style class. We are going to start and finish in standing. Grab a cushion if you feel like you might want that for when we're on hands and knees. I'll cue you when it might be most useful to use. No cushion, no problem. We can always fold up the base of your mat again and give yourself a little bit of extra padding that way. Let's move at a pace that makes sense for each of our own bodies and let's have fun. All right, I am going to go ahead and start my timer as soon as we make our way up into standing. Grab that extra padding and meet me on your mat. Padding goes off to the sides. We're going to start with those feet spread wide apart. Let's go ahead and get them lined up with the heels just out from shoulder width. We'll settle our weight back toward our heels, and then let's point our toes out toward the front bottom corners of our room. We're gonna imagine a string pulling up the crown of the head toward the ceiling, and we're gonna imagine that same string dropping a plumb line down between our heels. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so, and just take a second, take a moment to let your body weight sink down into the floor and to feel those little micro adjustments that our muscles are making all the way from the heels upward to keep us nice and steady. We can all open up our eyes. Some of us may have had them open already, which is completely fine. And then we're going to focus on getting our weight right back toward our heels again. Let's settle our knees into a little bit of a bent position and roll toward the outer borders of your feet and then roll toward the inner borders of your feet. Initially, as we roll from side to side on each of those feet, we'll feel our legs kind of going inward and outward. Let's now see if we can isolate that motion to our ankles. So ankles roll one way, the arches lift a little more. The ankles roll the other way, the arches come down toward the floor. One more time, roll toward the outer foot and roll toward the inner foot. And then we'll come right back to the center where we have a nice triangular base of support with our heel, the base of our pinky toe, and the base of the big toe pressing firmly into the mat. Let's take our hands to the front of our rib cage. So belly button's right in the center. We're going to come up about a hand's width up, and we're going to take our hands out to the sides. The heels of our hands should now be pressing on the outside borders of our trunk into the nice little springiness of the outer ribs. Gently push in, feel that springiness that allows our lungs to open up as we breathe. We're going to gently press in, taking our fingertips toward each other, holding a touch of pressure, just a very touch of pressure through those hands. Breathe into your hands. Feel your ribs press the fingers away from each other. As we exhale, we'll let those fingers draw back in toward each other. Breathe it out, press those hands away. And exhale. Excuse me, breathe in. Hands come away from center and exhale. Let those ribs draw together. We'll drop our hands down by our sides and let's roll our shoulders up and down. Slide them along those trunks, slide them along the back of the rib cage, all the while still reaching those crowns of the head up toward the ceiling. Inhale and shrug, exhale and lower those shoulders, and let's make some nice big circles with those blades. Roll them to the ears, back and toward each other and down to the floor. Let's complete 2 more circles here. Let's drop the shoulders down and tip your head side to side. We might start with just a little wiggle, and then maybe we let the weight of that head draw us to either side, ear toward shoulder, as we lengthen out through the opposite side of the neck. We'll take that head side to side one more time. Let's bring that head upright, nod the chin gently to the neck, and turn, looking over one shoulder and over the other. At the start, we're going to look for the side walls, and then maybe we can add a little extra, a couple more degrees, and see the wall behind us. Let's keep looking side to side. And we'll face the screen again. Let's breathe our arms out to shoulder height, and then breathe them right back down by the body. Breathe them out to shoulder height, and then let's see if we can take them overhead. Let's clasp our palms, press them to the ceilings, and then drop those shoulder blades down toward the floor. Keeping the tops of the shoulders relaxed, we're going to set the belly back toward the spine and feel that seatbelt of muscles engaging right around our waistline. Keeping those muscles engaged, let's tip that upper body gently side to side, lifting up with the ribs and arcing over so our hands point toward where the wall and ceiling meet to either side. You're welcome to take your body as far to the side as you can control. We're going to feel the weight go into that foot as we hit a certain point in the range. Press through that foot, popping that trunk up nice and tall again before descending to the other side. Let's take a moment here to sway that upper body side to side, to press through our heels to come up nice and tall again. And we'll reach our hands up to the ceiling. Let's open the arms out to the side, take them down by the body, give those shoulders another few shrugs, and then we'll stand with our feet a little bit closer together. Heels are lined up with our sit bones, and we move our center of gravity now from the heels right to the front of the ankles. Let's take our hands to the waistline, gently press down so our hands are resting on the top of our pelvis. Lift your toes up, feel the arches lift as we do so. You can, welcome to look down at your feet. I'm gonna try to get the base of the big toe and the base of the pinky toe pressing into the floor. From here, spread the toes apart. Sometimes it's really helpful to look down at your toes as we do this. Feel that stretch along the top of the foot, and then let's take those toes down one at a time if we can, starting with the little toe, pinky toe, and finishing with that big toe. Lift and spread and press the toes into the floor. Once the big toe presses down, see if you can draw the ball of the foot back toward the heel so those arches lift up off the mat again. Release, press the toes into the mat, and again, curl the ball of the foot back toward the heel. So we're making a little arc, increasing the height of our arch on either side. Draw the ball of the foot back, spread them apart, toes come down. One more time, draw the ball of the foot back. Whoop. Spread those toes, place them down on the floor, and now we're gonna shift our weight toward our toes and hold it there. As we reach the ball of the foot, maybe we can hover our heels up off the floor. See if we can balance there. We have a smaller base of support here. Take your fingertips to the front of the waistline and feel those muscles engage. If we tell them to contract, if we bring the belly to the spine, we'll feel a little more engagement. But even in a semi-relaxed trunk position, if we're over the front of our foot, we're gonna feel those muscles kick into our fingertips. The heels come down and we rock back toward our heels. And again, at that end range, we may again feel a little more engagement through the trunk. Shift forward and back, noticing the differences in how and when and how much those muscles contract, depending where we are. And then we'll bring our weight right back over the front of our ankles. Now let's rock side to side, moving as one unit from ankle all the way up to the crown of the head. And as we load one side and push away toward the other, we're going to feel differences in engagement through that midsection. We'll also feel the sides of our hips working a bit. Let's make some circles around our base. Small circles around those ankle joints. And take it the other way. Keep that circle going. One more time. And let's come to rest right over those ankles again. Take the hands away, shake out those wrists, shake your knees out, and we're gonna get ready to make our way down to the floor. So grab any extra padding that you'd like. We're gonna place it in the center of our mat, turn ourselves 90 degrees so we're facing lengthwise on the mat. And we wanna have the cushion in front of us far enough that when we make our way down to the mat to all fours, we can get our knees just below the kneecaps resting on that extra padding. All right, with the hands down by our sides, let's take a big breath in, and exhaling, we draw the belly to the spine. Slide your hands down the thighs, letting the tailbone come back and the crown of the head forward. We'll find that stretch through the thighs. If it's too much, bend your knees a little bit. We're going to keep with the idea of keeping the crown of the head facing forward, the tailbone back, the back of the head, the middle back, and that area right below that waistline, nice and lined up with each other. Let's bring our hands toward the mat, and then let's row. Squeeze the blades together and then release the hands toward the floor. Let's repeat that row. Warming up our shoulder blades. We'll be working them in various positions throughout the class, mostly on hands and knees. Squeeze the blades, keep the elbows tucked by the sides, and press the arms straight. Reach them back, press them back, press them back. Here's 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. We'll bring our hands toward the floor. Bend the knees, taking the hands down to the mat, and let's walk the hands forward in front of that cushion and draw those knees down to the floor. If you can keep your toes turned under with the balls of the feet pressed into the floor, go ahead and do so. And then we're gonna give ourselves a little back and forth rock. Feel the soles of the feet lengthen out. We might feel a little bit of a stretch through the Achilles region or the lower part of the calf. Coming right back up, right again, wrists over shoulder, wrists under shoulders. Go ahead and turn the tops of the feet to the floor. Drawing the belly to the spine, let's press our hands into the mat. Curl that lower body a little bit, round the pelvis toward the breastbone, look toward the thighs. There's our cat position. Reverse, taking the tailbone to the ceiling and the breastbone forward. Again, let's curl it up and reverse. Curl up to cat and reverse through, hit that cow position, and let's bring the body right back to neutral. We're gonna keep our shoulders still as we wag our tails side to side. Take a hip toward the same side shoulder, and then switch it up to the other side. We should get a little bit of length, a little bit of stretch through the lowest part of the low back, right near that belt line. Coming back to the center, one toe at a time comes to tap out to the outer border of the mat, or 1 foot at a time. We're touching that big toe down on the top of the foot. We're getting a little rotation through the hips. Coming back to center, let's hold here and squeeze those shoulder blades together behind the back. Press them forward toward the floor. Squeeze them together and press them forward. Keep those elbows straight as you can, or still as you can. If they have to be a little bent, keep them bent the same amount the whole time. We'll press those blades forward. Now we take our feet together, bring the knees apart, and let's rock the bottom back toward our heels. Press the hands into the floor. See if we can get a little bit more drop back toward those heels. And then we're gonna bend our elbows, lowering the forearms to the mat. Slide the elbows into the inner borders of the knee joint lines and shift your weight from side to side. We're still pressing our shoulder blades toward the floor. And as we rock from one side to the other, we push the floor away with those forearms, and we should feel our gray muscles lengthen out a little bit on the side we're moving the body away from. Let's rock back to center. Slide the hands toward the head of the mat. Pause at the first point of resistance. If you feel a stretch through the outer borders of your shoulder blades, but nothing right under the armpits, let's keep sliding. If we feel a pull through the armpits, a little guitar string type pull, I want you to slide forward, but I also want you to keep those elbows bent. Just add a little more slack back into the system. We take it as far forward as we can comfortably go, and then let's lower that forehead toward the floor, keeping in mind that it's completely fine if the head does not reach the mat. We're gonna pause here in that stretch position, that lengthened position, and let's wiggle one side of the body at a time toward the mat. So one outer border of the shoulder blade comes toward the floor, and then we switch it up to the other side. That breastbone is gently wiggling from one side wall to the other. Take it back to center and walk the hands toward the screen. We'll do a little pause here with one hand right over the other. Let that head rest between your arms, right around the elbows. As we breathe in here, we're gonna feel the opposite side of the body open up, as the ribs open away from each other as we breathe in. And then as we exhale, we'll walk our hands to the other side. Let's breathe here again, hand over hand, taking that breath in as we open the ribs away from each other on the side we're moving away from. Breathing out, we come right back to center. Let's bend our forearms again, elbows to the mat. We'll shift the weight over those elbows. Reset belly to spine. Let's lengthen those legs back behind us till we're resting on our upper thighs. Resting here, let's let our shoulders drop. Drop that belly to the floor, shoulders come to the ears. Big breath in here. Doesn't feel super great, doesn't feel super supported. We're gonna give ourselves support by going in the opposite direction. Press those blades toward the floor and draw the belly up toward the spine. Looking toward our hands, we're gonna nod the chin gently toward the neck and squeeze and press through those shoulder blades, just like we did on all fours earlier. Squeeze them together behind the back and then press them toward the floor. We may get a stretch through the mid-back. We should feel some engagement and some work in those muscles right to the outsides of our shoulder blades. Squeeze and press. We're gonna hold here and take a big breath in. As we breathe out, let's turn our bodies toward our screen, move any extra padding out of the way, and we're gonna turn onto our backs. All right, once we're there, let's settle into our new position with that nice big wide base of support from our mat. We're gonna lower our heels to the floor, line them up with our sit bones, and then nod the chin gently toward the neck, feeling the back of the neck lengthen out into the floor. Let's draw the belly down to the spine as we breathe out. Place those fingertips just inside the pelvic bones. Feel a little bit of tension through those muscles right below the navel as we draw the belly to the spine. Let's picture that clock face on our midsection with the arms down by our sides. We're gonna curl the pubic bone toward the breastbone, flattening the low back and curling the pelvis toward 12 o'clock. Let's reverse, taking that tailbone, lengthen it down toward the heels. The pubic bone comes away from the breastbone. There's 6. Curl it to 12, lengthen to 6. Curl to 12, lengthen to 6. One more time, curl to 12, lengthen to 6, and then bring that trunk right back to center, breathing in. As we exhale, we reset the chin toward the neck, reset the belly to the spine, and let's rock that pelvis from side to side, moving One hip up as the other hip draws closer to the floor. Rock it through to the other side and picture where 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock would be. Roll to 3 and rock to 9, pressing our feet into the floor firmly on left side. We're lifting and then switching as we roll the other side up to the ceiling. 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Let's come back to center. Reset belly to spine on that next exhale and float the arms to the ceiling. Let's wrap our blades around the front of the body, lifting them up, and then we lower them to the mat. Reach and lower through those shoulder blades, keeping the rest of the body as still as we can. We can reset that chin gently toward the neck, ensuring that the upper body stays nice and still as the blades move. Lower those shoulder blades to the floor. We'll bring one knee up to 90 degrees. Resetting belly to spine. Let's bring the opposite knee up to meet in tabletop. Glue those ankles and knees together. We're going to reset those shoulders down to the mat. And let's rock our knees toward the screen, just far enough that the bones in the back of the pelvis far away from that screen. Lift up off the mat. Inhale right back to the center, and breathing out, we rock our knees to the other side wall, allowing that side of the pelvis to come up. Inhale to center, exhale and rotate. Inhale to center and exhale, rotate. Let's come back to center. Maybe we challenge it a little differently by straightening our knees as best we can, lifting the toes toward the ceiling. It's okay if those knees are a little bit bent. Again, we rock those knees, rock those legs toward the screen and away, keeping the upper body, everything about that navel stays nice and still as we rock for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Bring those feet right back up toward the ceiling, bend the knees to 90 degrees, and we'll separate them from each other gently. Let's bring our hands right to the front of our thighs. Take a big breath in. As we exhale, knot the chin, drop the belly down, and press the hands and the thighs toward each other, engaging and feeling a little more activity through the front of the body. Hold here for a big breath in. Hold for a big breath out. Keeping the core engaged, we draw the far knee into the chest and press that leg closest to the screen forward, lengthening it toward the wall in front. Drawing that foot down till the heel just hovers off the floor. Switch the legs, pull and press to the other side. Switch and press, switch and press, switch and press, switch and press. Repeat for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Keep that leg closest to the screen pulled in. We'll draw the far leg all the way down to the mat. As the heel touches, now we think about pressing that knee firmly into the mat as well. We're going to give our shoulders a roll back and down, turn the head from side to side, and then look right back up to the ceiling. Let's take that bent knee with the opposite hand, draw it across the body, wiggle into that glute. We're going to feel that outer hip lengthen out. We can give a little wiggle. We can even let that hip come up off the floor. Let's take a breath here, and then breathing out, pull right back to center. Hanging onto that shin, we reset belly to spine, and then see if we can think about using abdominal muscles to help lift that other foot up off the floor to that hovered position. We're gonna hold here, keeping the trunk still, and let's make some small circles right on the wall in front of us. Let's switch it up and circle the other way. Here's 3, 2, and 1, and take that lifted leg side to side. Again, we're moving from that hip joint, keeping the rest of the body nice and still. You're welcome to use the hand on the moving side to monitor that that pelvis is staying still. Lengthen forward, breathe that knee in to meet the other side, clasp that knee into the chest with the hands, and lengthen the opposite leg forward again to that hovered position. Lower the leg, roll the shoulders back and down, and we'll again turn our head side to side. Bring that head up to face the ceiling again. Grab that bent knee, draw it across the body, lengthen into the side of that hip, and then give a little wiggle, drawing the hip up off the mat just gently. We'll come back to center, hanging on to that lifted thigh. Reset belly to spine and use those abdominals to help lift that leg up to hover. Circle the wall in front. There's 4. Here's 3. Twice more. 1, pause, take a breath, and on the exhale, we circle the other way. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take the hand on the outstretched side. Maybe we place it right at the hip joint. Take that leg side to side, keeping everything above that hand nice and still. 2 more. Last one. Lengthen the leg forward, lower it to the mat. We're going to keep that pulled in knee right where it is, but hang on behind our lifted thigh.
Let's kick the thigh forward into the hands, allowing the shoulders to stretch away from the ears. Reset belly to spine. Wiggle through your knee, lengthen and lower that foot from tabletop all the way toward the ceiling. We want to feel the mobility, feel the challenge, feel the length through the back of the leg. We'll pause, reaching the toes to the ceiling, straightening the knee as best you can. Flex and point those toes. Point the toes and now wiggle that foot in and out, side to side. Excellent. Point those toes to the ceiling, big breath in. As we exhale, we reset the belly to spine, take the hands down by the sides. Let's circle that lifted leg on the ceiling. Stir your hip in its socket, and you are welcome to make that circle as big or as small as you need to. Given any constraints of the room you're in, if there's a wall near you, it'll be a smaller range. Pause at the top and breathe. Exhaling, we'll circle the other way. There's 4. Here's 3. Circle for 2. And 1. Draw that knee into the chest again. Soft shoulders, soft elbows. Breathe the opposite knee in to meet it. And exhaling, we lengthen that leg we just stretched all the way out along the mat. We keep the knee pulled in as we clasp behind the thighs. Let's draw the thigh into the hands, kick forward, lengthen the shoulders away from the ears, and reset the belly to the spine as we wiggle those toes up toward the ceiling, and then bend back to tabletop. We'll repeat that wiggle a few times, finding the length behind the thigh. Pause, lengthening those toes up. Find the barrier. If you feel like you're fighting with your leg, fighting with that quad, and you're shaking, if you try to straighten it out a little bit more, we may have hit the limit of what that leg wants to do, and we'll leave it right at that barrier there. Flex and point the toes. Point those toes, keep them pointed, and then we wiggle our foot in and out. Point the toes to the ceiling. Let's keep that core engaged or reset belly to spine as our hands come to the mat. Let's take that lifted leg side to side, moving in a range where the trunk stays nice and still. Maybe as we go, we can make those little adjustments to the knee. Maybe we straighten it, maybe we bend it a little more. How does it feel going side to side instead of making a circle? Think about it. Let's pull back to the center. We'll draw that knee in, give it a little hug. Let's draw the opposite knee into the chest as well, and we rock that body from side to side. Take a big breath in here. Exhaling, we come right back to the center. We grab those kneecaps and we draw the thighs up until they're vertical. Reset belly to spine, press the hands gently into the thighs, and then reach those knees up, or those toes up rather, until the shins are parallel to the ceiling. Let's bring our arms up as well. As we breathe out, take that arm closest to the screen back overhead, and we'll extend the opposite leg forward, reach toward the wall. Take it right back to the ceiling, and we'll switch up to the other side. Inhale to center, exhale, reach away. Inhale to center, exhale, reach away. Let's keep that going. Here's 4, here's 3, here's 2, and here's 1. Arms and knees come right back up to tabletop position. Take a big breath in. Belly to spine on the exhale. Let's flex up our feet and tap one heel at a time down to the mat. Lifting and lowering at a speed that's making sense for your body. If we want to make this more challenging, really set those breastbones down. Draw the ribs down toward the floor, and maybe we open our arms back, reaching the hands toward the wall behind us. A little more work for the upper abdominals. Inhale everything to the ceiling. Point the toes, lengthen up toward the ceiling with those legs. And then let's see if we can reach our toes forward a bit and our arms back, and then float right back up to the ceiling. Exhale away from center. Inhale to the ceiling. Exhale away. You are welcome to take everything as far away as you're feeling in control. Back to center. Lengthen away. Inhale to center. Arms come by the sides, and we're going to rock those legs from side to side. Draw a nice straight line on the ceiling, moving those feet from side to side. Let's make some counterclockwise circles on the ceiling now. Arms stay still. Shoulders stay pressed into the floor. Breathe in at the top. Exhaling, we'll reverse that circle. There's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Take those feet slightly apart, bend the knees. We're gonna bring our feet down to the floor with the heels lining up with our sit bones. Inhale, shrug the shoulders to the ears. Exhale, unshrug them, and we'll rock our knees from side to side. There's 4. Here's 3. 2 more. And 1. Take those knees right back to the ceiling. Let's inch our feet a little closer to the bottom. Big breath in. Breathing out. Draw the belly to the spine. Squeeze those glutes, and we're going to press our heels through the floor, lifting the hips up, shooting for a straight line from knee to hip to shoulder. Breathe in at the top. Exhaling, we lengthen down. Tailbone toward the heels. Touch down, squeeze and press up. Lower down, squeeze and press. Find a breathing pattern that works for you. My one request is that you do not hold your breath as we continue to move down and up. One more time, lower those hips. Lift and press them toward the ceiling, and keeping the hips lifted, we'll take our heels up and down for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Heels come down, squeeze the glutes, and let's lengthen down. Release everything at the bottom. Take a big breath in, and on that exhale, we rock from side to side. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take the knees to the ceiling, breathe it in again. Belly to spine on the exhale, let's squeeze and lift. We're gonna hold our hips up at the top. Let's move to a march, taking one knee at a time toward the same side shoulder. As we lift a knee, we press that opposite heel a little more firmly into the floor. Press 4, 3, 2, 1. Press those feet into the floor. Take that big breath in, hips to the ceiling. Squeeze the glutes and pulse for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling at the top. Exhaling, we lengthen down. Release everything at the bottom. Let that body sink nice and relaxed into the mat. Turn that head from side to side. We'll look to the ceiling. Shrug the shoulders to the ears and then drop them back down. And we're going to rock our knees from side to side for 4, for 3, for 2, and 1. Coming right back to center. Big breath in. Belly to spine on the exhale. Cross an ankle over the opposite knee. If we have a little more slack where we can keep our shoulders down, we're going to lift up into that figure 4 stretch. Hold the position, rock away from the cross side. Feel that hip open up a little more on the outer portion. Take it as far over to the side as you're comfortable going. Feel that stretch evolve. Maybe we rock back and forth and just feel how the stretch changes and the angle of pull changes as we move. We'll come back to the center, take the feet back down, switch it up again, belly to spine, ankle to knee. And if we have the slack, we lift up. We may be very different on our 2 sides. If one side's really tight, it's okay for that foot to remain on the mat. Again, we rock away from our cross leg, whether that heel is lifted or on the mat. Find that stretch at the outer hip, and then we can rock back and forth and just see how that stretch and where its emphasis changes as we continue to move. Let's breathe back to center, unwind, and hug those knees into the chest. We're going to guide our feet to the floor. Let's turn toward our screen. Grab any extra padding you might want to use, and we'll make our way right back up to all 4s. Okay, so once we're there, we draw that belly to the spine. We're going to curl through cat and reverse to cow just a couple of times. Ease into this new position where our back is nice and free. Come to center, give the tail a little wag side to side, same reason. Let's walk our hands forward just slightly. Keeping the core engaged, belly to spine. Shift those shoulders forward. So we've opened up the front of our hips toward the floor just a touch. We're going to hold here. Maybe we widen up our knee position. Let's move to shoulder taps. Take one hand at a time up to the opposite shoulder. Goal here is to keep that trunk still enough that we could balance something right in the small of the back. If we want to make this more challenging, widen up those hands. Take them toward the outer border of the mat. Feel the difference in the weight through your knees. Feel the difference in what that trunk has to do as the arms widen up. We'll take those hands right back underneath the shoulders again. Walk those knees and feet in a little closer to each other. And let's turn the tops of the toes under and press ourselves up toward a plank. We're gonna try to keep our shoulders slightly higher than our hips. We don't wanna be in a sag, but we do want them a little higher than our hips. And from here, let's tap our feet one at a time out to the side wall. Tap and tap. Coming back to center, knees come down, hips are open. We're in a little plank on our knees, and we're gonna shift side to side. There's 4, shift 3, shift 2, shift 1. Coming back to center, let's walk our knees underneath our hips. Shake out those wrists a little bit. And bring ourselves right back to center, belly to spine. Let's lengthen the leg closest to the screen back and lengthen it up off the mat. We're gonna do our best to line it up with the body. Opposite arm comes forward, we hold. 4, 3, 2, and 1, switch sides. Lengthen the leg, lengthen it up toward the wall. Reach the opposite arm forward. 4, 3, 2, 1, switch it up. Lengthen and reach. 4, 3, 2, and 1, switch it up again. Hold 4, 3, 2, and 1. Keep that leg still. We're gonna try to switch our arms. Shift, reach that arm forward. Hand comes down, shift the opposite arm up. Shift and reach. Shift and reach. Hand comes down, take the knee down, breathing in. Exhale, opposite leg lengthens back and lifts one more time. Opposite arm comes forward, find your balance point. Switch those arms, shift the weight. And reach forward. Shift and reach. Shift and reach. One more time, shift and reach. Take the hand down, take that knee down, curl it up to cat and reverse through to cow. Bring the body right back to middle. We're gonna take our forearms to the mat. Roll those wrists out a little bit. The head is lower than the hips, so if that doesn't feel great for you, you are welcome to be up on hands and knees if you feel like having the head lower bothers your head or gets you dizzy. The other thing we can do if the neck needs a little more support is double those fists over, one on top of each other, and rest your forehead on the hands. So you pick the position that's gonna work for you best, and we're gonna keep our knees bent as we lift that one closest to the screen up and down. 4, 3, 2, hold 1, flex the foot, kick it up. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Float the knee down, breathing in. Exhale, lift and lower that opposite bent leg. There's 4. Press 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Flex the foot, kick for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Float the knee down. Let's curl up to cat. Get those knees set up on your cushion if you need to do it a little bit differently. And we're gonna curl ourselves up to a nice tall kneeling position. Arms are reaching down the sides, belly's drawn toward the spine, and we're gonna curl that pelvis slightly toward 12 o'clock. So pubic bone lifts up toward breastbone. We have that nice length through the back of the body. With one hand in front and the other hand behind, take a big breath in. Exhaling, squeeze those glutes a touch. Lean the body back, feel the front of the thighs working, feel those core muscles engage. Come right up nice and tall. Exhale, rock back. Inhale up tall. Exhale, rock back. Inhale up tall. One last time. Exhale, rock back. Inhale up tall. Arms come by the sides. We're gonna flip our palms to face straight ahead. Squeeze the blades and take the hands back, reaching our fingertips toward the back of our mat. We're gonna pulse our pinkies toward each other. Feel those blades squeeze. Pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Arms come down, give everything a little roll. We'll take a seat on our mat. Move that cushion out of the way if you're done with it. And as we bring our feet in front of us, just shake those knees out a little. We're gonna bring our hands to our outer thighs. Let's press the hands and thighs toward each other. Elbows start up bent. We're gonna keep our core engaged. Straighten the elbows a bit. Let that body lengthen back until we feel our stomach muscles start to work a little bit more. One at a time, we open an arm out away from the hand. We don't need to bring it very far away. We just need to lift it off so that we're pushing through one side And the other side has to figure out how to stabilize, keep nice and still and facing in the same direction. Open and close those arms. 4, 3, 2, 1. Press the hands back to the thighs. Open one arm up overhead for 4. Keep pressing the other one into the knee. 3. Press for 2. Press for 1. Grab the shins, pull that body up nice and tall, and we're gonna take our hands back behind us. As usual, we have 3 hand positions. Fingers can face forward, sideways, or toward the back of our mat. It's completely up to you what's working best. I'm gonna have mine facing forward and I'm pressing back into the heels of my hands. What I want you to do is see wherever you are if you can straighten your elbows. If you can't get your elbows straightened, switch your fingertip position and see if that helps you. We're gonna squeeze those blades together and send the breastbone up toward the ceiling as best you can. Wiggle your bottom forward, taking up any more slack that might be remaining. Pause when we feel that bicep stretch, when we feel that chest stretch, and we're gonna walk our heels in a little closer to that rear end. All right, let's look toward the ceiling. If we have any more slack to take out, lift up. Find that reverse tabletop. Hold 4, 3, 2, and 1. Everything comes down. Sit up tall, shake the wrists out. Tip that head from side to side. We'll come up tall. Let's go ahead and face our screen. We're gonna make our way down to the mat. Straighten out the knees and bring the feet forward just off the edge of our mat. So the hips are a little bit bent. We're in a little bit of a pike position with those hips flexed. Let's press our top hand into the floor, draw the belly to the spine, lift the top leg up to hip height. We're gonna swing that top leg forward and then press the toes into a point position, draw the leg back. Flex forward, point back. Flex forward, point back. Flex forward, point back, touch the toes down, lift them up behind. Touch and lift, touch and lift, touch and lift. Arc the leg forward, touch the toes down just in front of that front leg, bottom leg. 2 more. Last one. Lift up, line up the leg with the trunk, circle forward. 4, 3, 2, and reverse. Circle 4, 3, 2, 1. Pulse it up. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend that top knee. Hydrants for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Back to hip height. Top toes to the bottom knee. Clamshell. Down and up for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Straighten both legs out, pointing the toes, legs in line with the trunk. With the top leg up at hip height, we'll bring the bottom one up to meet it for 8, 7. Last one's on this side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take that foot down, bend the knees up, give that hip a little pat. All right, let's take ourselves up and over. We're in the home stretch here. One side to go. Let's rest on that bottom arm. Feet are forward flexed, just in front of the mat. Top hand presses down into the floor and we reset the belly to the spine. Lift that top leg up to hip height. With the hand on the floor for a little stability, we kick that leg forward and we point the toe and draw it back. Flex, take it forward. Point it back. Flex forward, point back. 1 more, flex forward, point back, touch the toes down, lift them up. Touch and lift, touch and lift, touch and lift. Arc the leg forward, touch the toes down, lift them up. Touch and lift, touch and lift, touch and lift. Take the leg back. Let's do a circle forward. 3, 2, and reverse. Bend that knee. Hydrants. 3. Can we hover our supporting hand up off the mat? Knees are forward at hip height. Top toes come to the bottom knee. Take the knee down. Down. 2 more. Last one. Lift up. Stretch that top leg out. Stretch the bottom leg out. Pulse the top leg up. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold it there. Bottom leg comes up and down. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Top leg comes down. Bend at the knees. Give the hip a little pat, and let's turn to our backs. Whew. Nod that chin toward the neck. Settle the whole back of the body into the mat, and we'll take our hands down by our sides. Let's turn that head. Look toward the screen. Turn it and look toward the other wall. Again, turn and look toward the screen. Let's turn and look the other way. Looking right back to the ceiling. Release those collarbones, widen them away from center. Let's rock our knees from one side to the other, allowing the hip to come up on the side we're moving the legs away from. Shoulders stay down, breastbone stays facing the ceiling. Head, neck, and chin stay nice and still. We might get some noise through the body as we move. Take those knees to the ceiling, and then we're going to cross an ankle over the other knee. If we do have a little slack to take out, lift up. Otherwise, that foot stays on the mat with the arms pressed into the floor. Let's give a little wiggle away from the cross side. Feel the stretch evolve. Feel it just move slightly as we wiggle. We'll come back to center and take those feet down. Cross the ankle to the knee. And again, we lift up. Hold it there. Give a rock. Slow your breathing down. Fill those lungs with air, and then breathe as much out as you can. Let's take it back to center. Unwind, give those knees a hug, and roll the shoulders back and down. Let's take our feet to the floor. We'll turn ourselves toward our screen. Let's go ahead and make our way right back up to hands and knees. Grab any extra padding you want. We curl the cat and reverse to cow. Again, curl the cat, reverse to cow. Coming right back to center, turn those toes under. We'll press the balls of the feet into the floor as we rock the bottom back to the heels. Bring those hands back toward the knees. And we're gonna flip our weight over to our feet. Let's walk everything back, centering ourselves right over the front of our ankles before we come up nice and tall to standing. All right, get your bearings there. Let's go ahead and stand up nice and tall with those feet level with our sit bones, so a little space between them. We're going to finish up with a little bit of balancing. If you do want to have something steady nearby, go ahead and find it now. Hands go onto that something steady, or we take our hands to our waistline. Again, we're going to imagine a string pulling the crown of the head up and dropping a plumb line down from that tailbone toward the floor. And let's shift our weight to one foot. Rise up into single leg balance. Find that nice stable position, whether we're holding, whether we're tapping our foot down, or whether we're maintaining that balance with our hands right at our waistlines. Maybe we step forward and take that foot right in front of the other, standing heel to toe. From here, if you want to challenge it a little more, turn that head from side to side. And look forward. Let's step those feet away, shake out that supporting leg a bit. We'll shift to the other side. Find that single leg balance. Take that foot forward, step it down, heel to toe. And finally, we can turn that head out a little complexity. And look forward. All right, we'll take those feet next to each other, shake the legs out. Let's bring those feet a little bit apart. We'll settle the weight back to our heels, give those shoulders a few shrugs, a few circles, whatever we need to do to let them release. Let's turn and look over one shoulder and turn and look over the other, and we'll face our screen again. Let's close with our feet together. We'll take a big breath in, arms come out, up and overhead, and we press the palms together as we look to our fingertips. Breathe out to center. Excellent work, everybody. Thank you as always for being here, and have a lovely weekend. Enjoy the nice weather that's supposed to come.